Okay, I said I was never going to do this, but the reason I am is I don't feel like I ever got sufficient footage of this game in a way that I could stand. And so I'm going to try again. And the point here is this is a game that is not what it claims to be. It says it is. I'm just seeing if there's music that I need to mute. Um, it says that. There it is. Okay. That it's a game about making movies. And that you get to the top by you make money and all of that. The way you're a success is by running a studio, building sets, hiring actors, actresses, producers, script writers, directors, making movies, making the right kind of movies so that people will want to see them. I'm going to prove to you that just isn't true. We'll start in the 1920s. By the way, I'm your poorly aged sarcastic PC Witty Gamer, and the game we are playing here is called Blockbuster Inc. Now, as you see, we start out with $50,000. I mean, $500,000. My bad. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and buy. And does it say I'm $40,000 in the? No, I've got $30,000. Why won't it let me buy? Yeah, let me buy $30,000 worth of shares. Okay, now I have no money. That had to be a big mistake, right? I mean, now I've got no money, no actors, no actresses, no script writers, no sets, no catering, no producers, nothing. I can't shoot any movies. So obviously I ruined. Oh, wait a minute! I've got $18,000. That's right. I have $18,000, ladies and gentlemen. I made $18,000 without making a movie. Surely that was a fluke. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, please don't call me Shirley. There's got to be more to this game than just taking the money you started with, investing it in other more successful companies, and sitting back and getting rich. Right? Well, no, there isn't. I mean, there can be. You could play it straight up. But the way to be the most successful, if By successful, you mean making money and minimizing risk. The number one way to be successful in this game is to take the upfront money and don't spend it on yourself. Spend it on other companies. By the way, you did see that I even named our so-called studio You Lied Productions. Now we just take the money that we've made and we reinvest it. You Lied Productions. Now, I'm not going to do this forever because other than my voice and what I'm saying to you, it would be a very boring video. But I am going to do this enough to show you that the most successful way to run the studio is to not run the studio. See, we got $93,000 there now. $93,000. Let's buy some more studio shares. Let's buy Mastermind this time. And obviously, the reason you want to keep investing in the other companies is so that you're reinvesting the profits that you've made. So that the profits become your investment as well. You do that, you make the money faster. If you don't do that, there's other ways to play this game, don't get me wrong. Like, I could have taken all that money up front and put it into a studio. And then when I got profit off of that investment, I mean, you know, put it into another studio, not my studio. And then when I got profit off of that investment, I could have taken that profit and used that to build my studio. The reason I didn't do that in this video is because it's not profitable. In other words, the most profitable way to win this game, to make money, to get ahead in life, is to not hire anyone, not build anything, not produce anything. We don't even have an office for ourselves in this. Literally, all we have to do is hit this button, go to Studio Shares, decide which one we want to spend money on. And buy more shares. And obviously, the more shares we have, the faster we will make money. We can literally make hundreds of millions of dollars. I think I've done this to the point where we've made billions before, if I remember correctly. And if we didn't reinvest, we'd still make all the money off of our previous investments. We just wouldn't make it nearly as fast. This year's Filmwood Awards ceremony is about to begin. Click the Fame Theater. Now, my guess is we probably didn't win any awards. Just so don't get too excited. Welcome to the awards ceremony. Ready to discover this year's winners? Yeah, I suppose, but can't you guys talk out loud? The best director. Here are the nominees, and of course, none of them are us because we don't have any directors. The best producer. Again, we're not up for any of these. Best actress. Best actor. Best screenplay. Oh, they're all by the same company. Now, and of course, best movie. Best looking studio. Now this should be us because we don't have any trash or anything. But of course it isn't. Most profitable. Now, I don't know how they could say we're not the most profitable. We are literally making the most profit in the game. So we should have got most profitable. They didn't even nominate us. So they're cheating. We're not cheating. We haven't used any cheat codes or anything like that. We're doing exactly... Yeah, I know, no bonuses earned. We're doing exactly what the game gives us to do. We start off with money and they tell us we can use that money however we want. And so we use that money how we want. Now we have $168,000 here at You Lied Productions. Now, I might do 3 videos of this game. I haven't decided yet. If I do, what I'm thinking is I'll do this first one to just show the most efficient way to make money is to make nothing else. Just invest the money you start with. Don't do anything else. Just keep investing it. Look at that. We've got $223,000. And we could put it into another studio. Then the second video, once I get tired of this one or prove my point, I might take all the money that I start the game with in the next video, and then just use the profits from that to build a studio. What is the least efficient in the game is actually hiring people and making movies. That doesn't work out well at all. And then I could do a vanilla run if I do a third video. And in a vanilla run, I wouldn't invest any money in other studios, and I would just show you how difficult it is. So, like, I've never enjoyed this game. I played it a little. It says that I've achieved all of the objectives in this game, except I haven't put out a movie that was that came in at 80%, or one that came in at 90%. Those are the only two things I haven't accomplished. And what I found, even playing on the easiest level, and by the way, I've tried all of these things that are in this video on higher levels. The reason I didn't put it on the highest level right now is it would just take longer to prove what I'm talking about is true. And I didn't think you'd want to sit around for that. So this game is thoroughly broken, and there's no way that the people who developed it didn't know that. So they put out this game knowing it was a scam. It's been out for more than a year. And despite their having put out patches and things like that, they haven't fixed the real problem, which is it's a scam. You don't get ahead in this game by running a studio. You get ahead in this game by investing in other studios. So it's not really a movie mogul game at all. It's an investing game that's pretending to look like a movie mogul game. Now, why would they do that? I think, now I haven't talked to any of the devs. They haven't had the courage. So, and I mean that because I went to one place and one of the devs told me he was going to talk to me, and then he didn't talk to me. Then he said he was going to talk to me in a few minutes, and he didn't talk to me. So see, there we have 1.3 million. We can invest that. And I think the reason he doesn't want to talk to me is because this is indefensible what they did. They took real money from us. This isn't a free demo or something. They took real money from us for a game where they said we would be competing in the cutthroat world of movie studios, making movies, having, you know, hiring actors and actresses, directors, producers, script writers, all of that. It just turns out that everything they said about the game was a lie to sell it to us. Now, how were they able to pull this off, you might ask? Well, there was a game a long time ago called The Movies. And it was really good. And in it, you did make movies, you built sets, you hired actors and actresses, directors, producers, even stuntmen in the expansion, and script writers, all of that. You had to build amenities like restaurants and bars and water fountains and trees and things like that, and nice trailers and everything for your talent, or they wouldn't be very good in your movies. So a lot of people liked that game. It was just called The Movies. People loved it. And people have been begging for a sequel to it. But there was some kind of problem, and the company, not because of this, but just because of how companies are, the company broke up or something like that, and there's a question about who really owns the movies. And you'd have to know that in order to have the rights to make a remake of it or a sequel or whatever. So one was never made, but this was a game that people liked. I mean, the original, The Movies. People liked it so much. I mean, I played it for years and years. It was entertaining. Had a lot of fun with it, and I played it for years and years until it literally wouldn't play anymore because it was on discs, and discs wear out, and you get new operating systems and things like that, and a later operating system may not like the installers that are on your discs and things like that. So got to that point where it couldn't be played anymore. But I had played it quite a lot. And so I believe that the producers of this game were doing a cash grab based on the goodwill of that other game. And the reason I make these videos of this particular game, a game that I don't really enjoy playing that much, is to warn people that there are game devs out there like this who all they care about is your money. They will release a game that they know doesn't work, isn't what they said it was. And they're hoping that you play it long enough that you're no longer eligible for a refund. And that's what generally happens with this. This is set up in such a way that most people, unless they read about this online or see a video like this, would only discover these tremendous flaws by playing it. And like on Steam, I think if you play a game more than 30 minutes, you can't get a refund for it no matter how awful it is. So they've got it set up so that a normal person playing this game will not realize what the problem is in time to get that refund. So it's a setup. They are stealing money from people, and they should be ashamed of themselves. And if they want to come in here and say what they did was righteous and good and all of that, and that they didn't rip anybody off, I'm willing to do an interview with them. I can do an interview. We can have a window with one of the devs in one corner and me in another corner. Their game can be going on in the background, and we can discuss this game. I would love to discuss this game with the dev. And it's one thing to say, don't ever trust this company again. Obviously, that's great advice. Don't ever trust this company. They ripped us off. They knew what they were doing. This wasn't a mistake, and they've had time to fix it, and they didn't bother to fix it. They're happy taking your money for something they know they didn't deliver. And understand, this isn't just a quirk on my system or something like that. This is a fundamental flaw in the game. And so, once I discovered it, and once I published about it, I put up some videos about it, I went and looked at reviews on Steam of it, and those people had discovered it before I did. I just hadn't read their reviews. And then I saw other videos about it as well. So the company knows about it. There's no way, by the way, that they did any kind of beta test of this game and this somehow got past them. This is fundamental to how the game works. And the game never did work. Think about it. This is supposed to be a movie mogul game where you get ahead by making movies and things like that. Here, I started with $500,000. I've got $11 million. Plus $80 million with one company, $26 million with another company, $8.8 million with a fourth company, $7.8 million with the fifth company, and $11 million with the sixth company. So I've made several times the amount of money with which I started. There's no end in sight. I could literally do this forever. And become fabulously wealthy without ever building a set, without ever hiring a scriptwriter, without ever hiring an actor, an actress, a director, a producer, a caterer, ground maintenance people, any of that. I got $6.8 million again. I mean, nearly as quickly as I throw it into the investment, it comes back. And as you see, I mean, not only have you seen this from the beginning, we have 0 fans, we've made 0 movies, and we have 0 employees. And yet, we're making all of this money. We're making a lot more money than we would make if we actually bought stuff, hired people, made movies. I would say the other flawed part of this, and it doesn't come up as much, but the other flawed part of it is if you actually do what they want you to do, if you build sets, hire people, build up your studio lot and everything like that, you end up dealing with whiny people that always want to quit. They're always making demands on you and all of that. And you end up making movies. Some movies are completely in limbo as far as they never get made. And the game doesn't give you any kind of feedback as to why they're not getting made. So you tell them, okay, these are the sets you go to, these are the scenes, go there, make it, and they just never make it. And you could wait 30 years of game time and they won't make those movies. So on this end, the flaw is that you don't have to spend any money on props, sets, employees, or anything like that to make a killing in this game, and you don't have to make movies to make a killing in this game as a movie maker. On the other end, if you do try and play it straight, you will find out that it's either impossible or nearly impossible to make movies that the public can even stand well enough for you to make even a penny of profit off of them. So mainly, you just lose money off of everything you do. That's how I discovered this problem. So the first time I played it, I played through the tutorial, and again, the tutorial is there to waste your time, not to teach you how to play the game. Most of the fundamental things about playing the game, if this game were legit, aren't in the tutorial at all. The purpose of the tutorial is to waste your playtime so that when you realize you've been ripped off and you demand a refund from Steam where you bought the game, they say no refunds because you've gone over that time limit. So it's diabolical. These people know what they're doing. They know they're ripping us off. They know there is no workable game. Now, again, on this side, there's the investment problem. That the only way you can really make a living is investment. On the other side is the other problem I was just explaining to you, which is you don't end up making movies that make any money. That's why the first time I played it, I was able to easily get through all the achievements in the game other than putting out a movie that got an 80% rating or one that got a 90% rating. All the other ones I just flew right through. Do you get it, folks? They sold us a broken, I can't even say broken game because there isn't really a game here. I kind of wish somebody would do something about this. Now, I'm not saying the government should get involved or anything like that. And one of the problems with the government getting involved is then you end up with overregulation. But on the other hand, if somebody just ripped me off on the street, it's the duty of the police to do something about it. So here's a company that's ripped thousands of people off. I don't know how many copies they sold, but they've ripped thousands of people off, and they just get away with it. There are a lot of scams in gaming, and I want to keep you away from all of them. So another scam is the early access game. They tell you, we're working on a game, we don't have it all together yet, and we care about the player so much that we want your feedback. Now this one I didn't buy in early access. It was a fully released game. But the early access scam, and I'm not saying every game that releases in early access is a scam, but frequently they get you to pay for what used to be free. So I'm 62 years old. For most of my life as a gamer, if a game company wanted something tested that had not been released yet, they would get it to gamers for free, and we would play it on our systems. We would alpha test it or beta test it, and sometimes, because they saw this as such a vital thing to get people playing their games, sometimes we got the full game because we had beta tested the pre-release. Never back then did we have to pay for a game before it was finished being made so it could be released. By the way, I'll tell you something else too. Back in the day, this will kill you. Back in the day, companies would release games and that was it. What I mean by that is the games ran, you got the game, that was the whole deal. Then, in about, I think around 2006, and I'm not saying Oblivion was the first game to do this, but they got the idea, we can release, well, probably before 2006, they were releasing like expansion packs. Although these were rare and only for the greatest games. By Oblivion in 2006, they're famously charging extra money so that you can have armor on your horse. The DLCs didn't really have quests in Oblivion or anything like that. It'd be like, okay, somebody left you something, go claim it, you know. So when you would be in the sewers, after Boris says there's rats and goblins in the sewer, you know, and all of that, you get a bunch of of screens popping up in your face telling you that you inherited this, you inherited that, or whatever, and you would go to those places once you got out of the sewers to claim these properties and things like that. There weren't any real quests involved or anything. But then they had this thing called, I think it was the Shivering Isles. And it was a DLC that had quests to it. Real quests, new characters, different kind of landscape and everything like that. It was colorful. It was beautiful. People like me, we bought Oblivion. We bought all the DLCs and all of that. In the middle of the night, the phone starts ringing frantically. Now, see, I don't believe them for a second. Why? Because I don't have any phones. Remember, I didn't buy anything. It stops and starts ringing again. The caller has no intention to stop. That's not even good English. Picking up the phone, a serious voice on the other end talks fast. It's the head of the studio security firm. Now, see, I haven't hired anybody, so there is no studio security firm. You're just lying to me. The studio's alarm went off. We are on site, but the people have already fled. Afraid for the worst, you get down there as quickly as possible, finding the police already all over the place. An officer approaches you. We might have some partial leads here, but nothing outstanding. The burglars only stole $20,000. The rest were too heavy to carry. Do you want us to pursue this? So, have you thought about this question? This is the police asking whether or not they should do their jobs. I've allegedly been burgled for $20,000. And the police want to know, should we go after them? So I'll tell them, leave no stone unturned until you find them. I want them brought to justice. We are on it, sir. Again, idiotic that the police would ask. Okay, so I've got $1.5 billion just in artsy pictures. So, oh, and $3 billion in that one. So now, I've got $10 million. I own $4.7 billion of telemovie. $3 billion of locomotive films. Mastermind Studios, I only own $139 million worth. I own $1.5 billion worth of artsy pictures, and I own $638 million worth of LCA productions. All of this, when I started with $500,000 in cash, and I haven't built anything, I haven't made any movies or anything like that. So, have I proven it to you yet? I mean, because I can just sit back and lecture. I guess I can do that for a while. People love to hear the sound of my voice right here on your favorite YouTube channel, the poorly aged Sarcastic PC Witty Gamer channel. I'll let it build up just a little more, and then, because I don't want there to be any doubt about this. So the early access, by the way, I didn't even get through the early access scam. So early access, nowadays, they have the gamers buy the product before it's finished. So where in my day, we were given the game in order to try it out and test it and give feedback to the game developers themselves. Now, gamers buy the games in advance before they're done being made. And in many, many cases, the games are never completed. So you get something like just the most rudimentary things that would later maybe be in a game, maybe not be in a game. So like just something like a little combat tutorial or something. But you've paid for a game. And it's been released in early access. And many times the dev will just take the early access money and walk away. You don't end up with a game. And nobody does anything about this. And you might think, I get why you're doing this now, poorly aged sarcastic PC Witty Gamer. You want to make sure that we don't ever trust this company again. Well, the problem is, when a company gets a bad reputation for ripping off the public, they just close that company down and go to other companies, and they start new companies, and you don't realize, oh, these are the guys that ripped me off with the other one. And there have been some famous examples, by the way, of where through Patreon or some other form of getting gamers to invest in a game, people have strung along gamers for years and years without producing a game at all, just ripping people off. Absolutely despicable criminal activity. And again, if somebody were to steal, say, $40 from me in the town where I live, they could be prosecuted for that. They could be sent to jail for it and all of that. But for some reason, when a company takes $40 from tens of thousands of people without any intention of providing a real game, and having said that they will provide a real game, so in other words, 100% fraud from the get-go, they just get away with it, and they get to go form new companies and do it all over again. Again, not every early access game is fraudulent, but a lot of them are. We got $15 million in cash and, again, billions and billions in investments, and we started with $500,000. Are you convinced now that you don't need to make movies to be successful in this game? Because when I do the next video, it's going to be based on that idea. Because I'm going to start the same way, but what's going to be different is I'll actually take the money from the investments and I'll build a studio and show you how pointless that is. But again, just so you see the end of this, we started with $500,000. We've got $75,000 on hand. We've got $5.7 billion of Telemovie Incorporated, $3.7 billion of Locomotion Films, $192 million of Mastermind Studios, $1.8 billion of Artsy Pictures, and $836 million of LCA. So that's about $13 billion we have made in a movie mogul game where we haven't hired any actors, actresses, built any sets, hired any directors, producers, or anything like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to thank especially my subscribers for being here. Last I checked, I had 66 of them. And I'm going to end this video. Then I will start a new video in which I will do a hybrid of investing and building my studio, and I will show you what a genuine pain in the it is to have employees in this game, and why you never really make any money. Unless, of course, now remember, what's going to keep us afloat in the hybrid version will be that I will have invested the money in other companies in the beginning. And so that's what will keep me from going bankrupt as quickly in the hybrid version. If I decide to do a third video, the third one will be just playing it straight as if I didn't know that it's a total farce and that there's no real movie mogul game in there. So I hope you understand. And now I'm going to end this video and